All right, here we are. And as always, let me hear you say it. Let me hear you say it. Say it in the comments. Happy Monday, everybody. Nice to have you here. And as always, I'm your host, David Burrows. And it's a sunshiny day. And it's been beautiful outside. Did it sound like I was going to sing there for a minute? Well, it hasn't been that bad of a winter. I mean, really. Okay, so it was cold. It's winter. But it was pretty nice winter. And I think, you always get this first really nice weather. Jennifer and I were out on the motorcycle yesterday, okay, that means it's here, right? And yes, thanks to all the kind messages from everybody on my Facebook and Jennifer's Facebook. She is back on the motorcycle. And she was a little nervous, but she got back on, and we're happy to be back out there again. So that just means a reminder, of course, motorcycles are on the road. So remember to keep an eye, drive aware, ride aware. And motorcycle riders, you need to be riding aware as well. So pay attention out there. Some special rides going to be coming up April the 24th. There'll be a ride with the 999th Legion for Child Rights. And I will be doing my Ride of Respect as I did last year on May the 29th. We'll be talking about that as things get closer. So remember, watch out for the motorcycles there. How you doing, everybody? Last week, let's go to the comments first. Jesse, you're the first one this time. He's my personal gas buddy. I say it every week. He works over at the Petro Canada at London Road and Finch. So if you are in there, say hello to my friend Jesse. He's the guy. He's very loyal. He's got a mask on that says the show on it. So thanks, Jesse. I appreciate it. And pardon me. Good afternoon, Barry. You've taken lots of pictures, Barry, and I always enjoy seeing the pictures. Barry Loxton is a local photographer, and you check him out on Facebook. He's also in the group You Gotta Love Sarnia. In fact, he's a moderator of You Gotta Love Sarnia. So there's always, if you haven't been in there, there's always lots of great pictures. Today, I will tell you, this is interesting. I was out this morning in Glencoe. I was doing a live stream. And it was a funeral. Yes, live streaming funerals is a thing. And when I pulled up, the gentleman from the church came up to me and he said, "Just so you know, there's a cardinal around here, and he's probably going to go and poke on your window of your van." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I literally took some stuff into the church, and then I was coming out, and there's this cardinal, and he was just perched on my mirror to my passenger side of the van. Oh, and he just sat there, whistling away. And then of course I went in and did the live stream and came out about an hour later, and there he was up in the tree whistling away. And it was like apparently this cardinal lives around this church, and it's like he's the guardian angel around there, it seems. And this is a true story. I'll be honest, when the guy told me this morning, he was like, "Oh, the cardinals," and I'm like, "Yeah, okay, sure, whatever," right? Away I go, set up my stuff. And this cardinal is like a legend in Glencoe at this church, and he's always around, and I guess has been for a long, long time. And then the funeral director came in later, and he said, "Oh, have you met the cardinal?" This was a whole conversation about. Now, of course, we know what they say about cardinals. I don't know the exact story, but when someone passes, there's a cardinal around it. I don't know the story, but you know what I'm talking about. You've probably heard that. So that was like a really neat part of my day. I felt like I was talking to this cardinal because I took a picture of it. I should have put it up here to show you, but I took a picture of this cardinal, and I'm standing there by my van. It was the weirdest feeling. It was like he smiled at me. It's like he knew the camera was on him, and he just kind of was whistling over that way, and then he looked over because I don't know. Is there other things happening in the universe? Probably. Anyway, that's a whole other show. It was a really neat experience. But you see lots of pictures of cardinals out there. Barry's one of them as well, and I see lots of them. Check them out in You Gotta Love Sarnia. Carl, all the way from Oshawa, always saying hello to us. Happy Monday to you, Carl. 73, back to you. And Danny Cacciamilio, always here. Happy Monday. Oh, and it's Mom's birthday, is it? Happy birthday, Amelia. Happy birthday. Where is Mom? Is she in town, or is she up in the Sioux? Right? Happy birthday, Mom, if you're watching. If you're not watching, then happy birthday anyway. Dawn is out there saying good afternoon. It is a good afternoon. Thanks for being here today, Don. Well, it's been interesting today. Lots of interesting today every day, right? The premiere was on today. I apologize, I didn't have that broadcast today as I was tied up out of town, but they did talk more about vaccinations and stuff. So last week, if you were watching here, we had Jason Winter from Bad Dog, Corona in Sarnia. He's the owner, and he's been advocating for local restaurants and businesses, but particularly restaurants who have been suffering. And of course, being back into gray, all they have now is takeout. So I don't really put a lot of opinions out there about this stuff. If you want to talk to me one-on-one, you want to have a beer, we'll talk about it. But I do have to say that, I'm always trying to be Mr. Positive, and I try to be looking on the bright side of life and all that good stuff. But I can't imagine the frustration that any business, but when I am, other places are allowed to have people in. And today, when I was in this church, it kind of reminded me of that, right? It's like, here we are doing this. Why can't a restaurant have capacity of based on size, whatever? I am not a medical doctor. I don't profess to be. I'm not a know-it-all, but I think I'm a pretty smart guy. And I'm looking around and I'm just I see how patient really people have been, even with the frustrations that have been around. People we've all got our limit, right? You can only do this so many times before somebody turns around and says, cut that out. And, the money and there's a whole lot of reasons. You guys already know all of this. Why am I venting here today? I just want you to hold on. Just hold on. I get it. I do get it. Maybe I don't get it to the point of a person who has a business like a restaurant or any business for that matter, any business at all, who has employees and has to turn and look and say, I'm really sorry, I have to lay you off. Or I'm really sorry, we're closing our doors. Lake Point Restaurant had to close its doors. Family-owned restaurant. I knew all of them that worked there. They were great. And where am I going here? I'm trying not to get emotional, but I do get emotional because I see the suffering and the frustration that's happening out there. I do have faith in our governments. I do. Do I agree with everything that's going on? No. Do I agree with everything they do? No. Nor do I think you ever will, or should we agree all the time. But the alternative behavior to the frustration and the mental health that comes attached to that, the alternative to being positive and trying to look on the bright side of life, as Monty Pythons would say, the alternative will really only make things worse, in my opinion, folks. In my opinion. Do we have rights? Absolutely. And do you have the right to say what you want to say or do what you want to do? That's a whole other story. We're going to be talking a little bit about that coming up here in just a moment. But I just would encourage everyone to stay as positive as you can. And how can we do that if we can't be in touch with each other like we want to be or used to be? I started a personal campaign weeks ago where I wrote out, copy and paste, and I just started sending messages to people saying, hi, how's it going? I want you to know I'm thinking of you. This is not an angel pass it on thing. It's really me saying hello, and I want you to know that you matter. You matter. Adam Dumont last year had signs that you could go and purchase. I put a few that were on my lawn. I said, you matter. Somebody loves you. A friend of mine reminded me of the Beatles. All you need is love. Am I preaching here? I'm not trying to preach. I'm trying to share a positive vibe that you can grab a hold of and pass on too. I see people protesting. I get it. But there's a way to protest properly, in my opinion. And I just want to see us hold on to the positive. Has 2020 sucked? Compared to what? Compared to what we were used to? Absolutely. Businesses suck. I get all of that. I'm not dismissing any of that by saying what I'm saying here. And I wasn't sure that I was going to talk this way. I've been actually debating in my head all day whether I was going to share this. But I think it's important that I want you to know that you do matter. I want you to know that your opinion matters, expressed properly. But everybody in this community has to realize that every person in this community matters and does have a say. I had a conversation with a friend of mine that I've known for 40 years, and boy, did we disagree on a lot of things. But we were smiling at the end of it all, and we had so much respect for each other. And that's the way we got to keep focusing on. If you need help, reach out. There are organizations locally that you can call 24/7, St. Clair Child and Youth, Mental Health Association. We talk about them here all the time on the show. Reach out. Don't be afraid to ask for help. And maybe you can help somebody by reaching out to them and saying, you matter. Thank you for being a part of my life. Can we all try that? Because I hear people talking and I see things happening and it worries me. It scares me because I know that's not the community we are. I've always said, and I've been accused of repeating myself, and I will again and again. I believe in the greatness in this community, and I believe in the greatness in each and every one of us in this community. And it is our responsibility to act and behave accordingly to get the results that we want. And our children are watching. Our children are watching how we're going to behave and react to these things. Okay. Was that a rant? I don't normally do rants, but I'm very serious about what I'm saying, and I want you to be thinking about that. And again, remember, you matter. Okay, let's go back to the comments one more time before we get started. Resides in, Mom is in Sault Ste. Marie. Okay. Kind of smart. Yeah. There has been a lot of great sunsets to capture out there. Yeah. Oh, one of my students, Cameron, my former students, but nice to see you here, Cameron. I appreciate you. You love the rant. Well, I don't, I get mixed emotions sometimes. I'm like, okay, well, I shouldn't be going out and saying all this stuff. It's not my place. Just do the show. But I really feel it's important to talk about sometimes. Yes, there's always something positive to look forward to no matter what time we're in. That's right. Yes. Reach out and check in with others. Not everyone is okay. All right. Thanks for listening. You could have clicked away, but you're still here, and I appreciate that. All right. My first guest, we'll have some similar conversation about what we're talking about, how you say things, how you respect other people. And she's on a campaign of her own here, and she's talking with me here today. Please welcome Helen Van Sligtenhorst. I always worry that I'm going to say that wrong. Oh, sorry. Try that again. I had you muted.
Okay. Oh, you have me muted. Thank you. It's Helen Van Sligtenhorst. If you were truly Dutch, you would,
Oh, okay. My wife is Dutch, so she would have got it.
Yes, she would have. There you go.
Thanks so much for being here, and thanks for being patient while I had my little rant there. But it's a little similar too to what we're going to talk about here, about how we talk to each other, what we say to each other, and my wife Jennifer and I were having a conversation about what we're going to talk about here, the R word, and a little bit of a healthy debate, and a lot of points that then I read your emails and I'm like, wow, we were just talking about that the same way. So let's tell everybody what we're here to talk about, which is the R word. What is the R word?
It's the no good way to use the R word. You are absolutely right, Dave, when you were talking earlier that we are getting tired. We are getting worn out. We are getting what some people call COVID fatigue. And I think with that, we are starting to forget dignity and forget that language matters. So one of the things that I'm hoping with this campaign is we just stop and choose a different word. We are all in the same boat. We are all frustrated, worn out, tired. We're back in locked again. You're right. There's businesses are suffering. As you know, I own my own small business. It's not where I want it to be, but we still have to remember that words matter. We have to watch what we say and express our frustrations differently, because let's face it, the English language has lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of words.
Yep.
Let's pick a different one. That's all I'm asking. I'm not trying to censor people. I'm not trying to tell you what to do, what you can't do. All I'm asking, as the mom of a child with special needs, that people stop and just remember that words can really hurt. You know, the old expression, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me.
I never believed that one.
Never. Me neither. I never believe it either, because trust me, words matter, words hurt. And Dave, when I was out and about in this community, probably in the last 6 months, like, I have not heard this word for a really, really long time. Parents out there, thank you for doing such a great job with your kids, in the sense that you have asked them not to use that word, because I have not heard that word in a really long time. But in the last 6 months, whether I'm at the grocery store, whether I'm at the pharmacy, or just out and about in conversation, and it's like, ooh, it's starting to really, it's
kind
escalating.
of rebirthing itself, right? Yeah.
And that is not a good thing, in my opinion. And so what I wanted to say is, we have to remember we need dignity. We have to remember that we are humans, and I think we should hold each other to a little bit of a higher standard. And I think that we should remember that everybody matters. Inclusion is important, and let's express our frustrations using ridiculous, disheartening, frustrating. Those are good words. Those are very descriptive words. And that is why I think Susan Chamberlain joined with me in this campaign, because she realizes that words matter too. And she's a wordsmith in the sense that she owns a bookstore, and she's with me on this. She's like, no, this has got to go. We got to go. We got to get back on track. And it's not everybody, but it's coming back. And let's
stop it before it gets out of control.
Yes. Right? My mom used to say, a stitch in time saves 9.
Right. Ah, yes. Very wise.
So let's be that stitch in time.
Yeah.
And
yeah, no, you're right. And I agree with you. And let me play a little devil's advocate here, though, just for, I'm not this guy, but I'm just going to put these out there from conversations I have had. And I know you've probably had the same conversation, and I'll even put myself out there as guilty as a teenager in high school, right? Back when words were this type of word was more common. Things were way different. This was in the 80s. Okay.
I think you and I went to high school at the same time.
Okay. All right. And so my buddies and I, we would use that word and the R word, and, and we were teenagers. Did we not know any better? Well, it was no different than, that's what we were taught, I guess, or it was okay. Mm-hmm. Any different to, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catcha.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the teacher was standing right there. No problem. Because we went home and we watched Archie Bunker that night do the same thing.
Right.
Right. So here we are now. And you're saying, okay, let's pick a different word. Mm-hmm. If we already know what it's going to mean, why does a different word make any difference if we're going to say it in the same context?
Because I think the word ridiculous doesn't mean the same thing as retard. Like, keep in mind how far we've come. Yes. Think how far we've come with inclusion. I think of so many different organizations in this community that support individuals with developmental disabilities, whether it's Special Olympics, Ironworks, Oswald's Diner. You had that on your screen in the background.
Yep.
I could go and list you 10 different places in this community and say, you know what, we want to have people that are included. We want to make sure they matter. And my point is that there has to be a progression. I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Because keep in mind, when let's say my daughter was born 60 years ago, she would have been called a mongoloid.
Right. Hey, you know what?
There was a new school that was segregation just
Yeah.
for kids with, and keep them away, don't include them. Think how far we've come. And that's what I'm trying to say with this word. You can walk down the street. Think of all the different activities. My daughter went to prom, not once, but twice. Once she invited somebody, once someone invited her. They're involved in Special Olympics. They went to the Sting game. Nobody blinks an eye when you see individuals with developmental disabilities at a Sting game. Are you kidding me? They get so much positive treatment when they're at the Sting game. They get that extra little bit of high five. They get buzz coming to find them. Why is that? It's because someone said, we need to make sure that every person matters. And when you use that R word, you're making it seem like my daughter doesn't matter.
Yes. Great answer. And I agree with you. That's, part of what I was leading up to. Everybody does matter.
Like when
I've always said too, a little different scenario, but I just said, seek out the greatness in everyone, including the ones you don't like.
Right.
I mean, let's be honest.
Well, that sometimes can be hard, but that's always look for the good in someone.
Right. It is a challenge, right? Now, this is a little bit different level that we're talking about, but at the same time, like your daughter, for example, she has feelings. She wants to go to prom. She wants to be happy. She wants to cry. She wants to be angry. She has girlfriends and friends, so,
I've got a funny story to tell.
But I like the way I just like the way you say the word progression. We've seen things like somebody will say, like the Dr. Seuss thing or Pepe Le Pew. There's all this cancel culture, whatever, right? But we have progressed, or like to think that we have. Somebody said to me a long time ago, like, boy, Dave, you've really changed. And I'm like, my goodness, I hope so. Right? So, but back to your point. Go ahead and tell your story.
I have two stories to say. You have those pictures up on your screen. And I want to just point out to people that Disney, she was invited to go to Disney. We went to Disney, actually. And she was invited to dance with Prince Charming, just like everybody other little girl there that had her little outfit on. There was never like, you can't participate. Right? So that's when you say the word retard, you're saying you can't participate fully in life because you're not good enough.
Right.
So that's the first thing. And so if you look at all those different pictures on the screen, you will see that in so many different ways, she has participated. Therefore, she's good enough. And the other thing that I wanted to say is she can bring so much joy to so many different people's lives. And in that one picture, you're noticing that they're holding up food and they have bags of food. She's just as involved in charity works as anybody else in our family. She is right there with everybody else, step for step with them. The girls run the Snacks for Summer program. The other girl in that picture is her friend Morgan. And the two of them are capable and participatory, and they are engaged. And no, we're not putting limits on them. And when you use that word, it's like you're putting a little fence.
Yeah. You
can't come out. You're in there. You can't enjoy life. You can't engage with life because you can't. Because that's what that word means. You can't. If you look at it, someone said about, fire retardant clothing. Like, retardant means it won't catch on fire. So when you use that word in reference to people, you're basically saying you can't. We're prohibiting you.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like this word.
Yeah. And I think, sometimes the word is used to insult intentionally, teenagers in the 80s.
Yeah.
But then other times I think the word is used not to be offensive, at least as someone might say it, and depending on the context, but not realizing that it really still is something we have to be conscious about. And I guess it comes back to, like, if you wouldn't say that in front of your mother or your grandmother, should you be saying it? And,
absolutely.
So to say time and place for it is not acceptable either then, right? Even though the word is in the dictionary and explains a certain way, right?
But if you look the word up in the dictionary, it says an offensive word. The first description is a prohibitive. So it's a prohibitive. For example, Nomax. Nomax is a fire retardant clothing used by many people in Chemical Valley because they have to wear it because, as I said, it acts as a prohibitor to fire. That's the first definition. The second definition says an offensive word. Then it gives you the definition.
And there's a reason I knew you would have that answer, and that's why I brought it up, because it was a discussion at our table, and it was like, well, and how do we, like, I get it, and we kind of went back and forth with it, and then okay, and I said, boy, and I said to Jennifer, I said, this is going to be an interesting conversation here today, because it's one that I don't think it's not one that I've ever had, and there's those stigmas attached to it, right? So we got to, like mental health and everything else, we got to try to stomp the stigma, I like to say.
Yes, and in some respects, you're absolutely right, Dave, because we have done so well with this word. Mm-hmm. There has been such a long time where I have not heard this word. And in fact, I've had people say to me, well, don't say it, because then it's back out there again, and you're giving people permission to say it. And I'm saying, no, what I'm saying is we are hearing it again. We need to stop it. And we need to say, if you're hearing, and I'm not asking people to go up to other people, hey, you use that word. Stop using that word.
Yeah, let's not start policing each other.
The last thing we need is more conflict and more protests.
Right.
What we need to say is, hey, by the way, did you know that you use that word? And for me, this is what it means. And then, you know what? I have actually had 2 conversations probably in the last November, December, 5 months. And they went, oh, I'm so sorry. You know what? And then they'd say, you're right. And I went, yeah.
Sometimes it's just an awareness, right?
Yeah. And that's what this is. This is not me going, I'm taking away your democratic rights of using whatever word you want. Yeah. No, my suggestion is, I'm a mom. This is who I am. I have a daughter with special needs. I'm asking you, in the most gentlest way that I can possibly ask you, is, can you pick a different word?
Right.
I'm asking. I'm not telling.
It's not a huge ask, really.
No, that's all I'm asking.
How hard is it?
Please, exactly. Check your words. Check what you're saying. And that's all I'm saying to you, is just mindfulness, awareness, checking yourself. And I'm like, Dave, I'm sure you're the same as I am. You would never intentionally go out of your way to hurt someone's feelings.
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
So now what I'm saying to people is, when I hear that word, my feelings are hurt.
Yes.
My feelings for my daughter are hurt.
Yeah.
Because I feel like she's back in that box where you can't come out. You have to stay there.
And just to strengthen what you're saying there, Helen, this isn't another somebody's offended thing. No, this is a legitimate. This is it sticks and stones for sure, right? Like, yeah, I am offended by that. Yes, I am offended. It's not another one of those offended things. This is important, right? This affects families. This is, and we're talking about you and your daughter and your family here, but this is beyond that. This is obviously this is personal to you for good reason, but it really has to go beyond that. And yesterday, for those of you who are watching live here on Monday, yesterday was World Down Syndrome Day, right?
Correct.
And I was going to wear my socks, but
think about that, Dave.
I couldn't get my feet up this side of the camera to show them off.
But think about that, Dave. Think about that. The United Nations has declared it to be World Down Syndrome Day. The United Nations. This is how big and encompassing. This wasn't just Canada that did this. This is happening all around the world.
Yeah.
All around the world. Australia, England, Ireland, Scotland, France, the United States, Mexico. So isn't that amazing that something like this has gone and permeated the whole world, where everyone now matters?
Yeah. Well, Helen, it's people like you that help push that forward. We need more people like you speaking out, because it can be hard to speak out sometimes. Maybe, oh, sure, she's speaking up because her daughter, but no, it's bigger than that. Like I said, right? You're actually, you have a title with the local World Down Syndrome, right?
Yes, I am the vice
Down
president.
Syndrome.
Yeah, I'm the vice president of the Down Syndrome Association of Lambton County. So we help all families in Lambton County. When a baby is born in Sarnia, Lambton, we have a connection with St. Clair Child and Youth. She goes and visits the family and helps in any way that the family needs. We fundraise to help and offer support for individuals with developmental or Down syndrome. We offer speech camps because, as you know, communication, here we are communicating, and we have to be able to talk to each other. So we want our children to be able to order their own hamburger at Oswald's. We want them to be able to say, oh, this is too heavy when I'm at Ironworks. Or I love going to the Sting game. We want them to be able to communicate their needs and wishes and wants. And that is important to us. So that's why we fund that particular project. But we also do stuff like this. And we also do World Down Syndrome Day, where we're out there promoting Rock Your Socks. We're out there just creating that awareness. And this is something that, Dave, I will never stop doing, because I believe my daughter matters, and I believe my daughter should be included, and I believe my daughter should be given every opportunity that possibly she can be given.
I agree. You know what? The last time you were here was a year ago, actually. We did it in person right before all the stuff hit the fan.
It was our last thing.
You were actually my last in-person interview last year.
Yep.
And I still have the socks to prove
I remember that.
Yeah. And I think, we should do this more often, Helen. You and I talk here, because I think we need to give this more attention. The R word and, Down syndrome group, all that stuff. We need to do this more often. So please reach out more often, and let's do that. And I will give a shout out to Oswald's Diner as well. Karen and Art, good friends of mine as well, and they are very supportive of inclusion. They're big supporters of the Special Olympics here in Sarnia. Tana Manchester, also a big supporter there, and a big part of it as well. So I mean, you've got the right people around you too to support you, and then you've got the bookkeeper in there. I mean, this thing, talk about catching on fire instead of slowing down the fire, right? Yes,
we just I guess you're right. You're absolutely right. There are so many people in Sarnia Lambton who support stuff like this. They support whether it's Special Olympics or our Down Syndrome Association or How Words Matter. My mom used to say life is about the 80-20 rule. 80% are good, kind, loving, 20%, or in this particular case, I don't even think it's as high as 20%. Maybe it's 5% or even less. But we're just saying, let's make it 0.
Right. Let's get as close as we can.
Yes.
It's like somebody said, said to me, like, well, you can't make everybody happy. Well, no, but you can work hard at coming really close.
Yeah. And this is not that big a deal. Like,
just let's keep our ears open and our let's use the brain before we speak. That could work in a lot of ways for a lot of people.
Pause for one moment.
Pause.
Think.
Yeah.
Get the old filing cabinet. Let's see. Can we pick a different word from the filing cabinet?
Helen, I got to move on here, but I thank you so much for being here. But real quick before you go, for those of you who don't know, Helen is the owner of Harbor Bay Clothing here in Sarnia as well. And you've had to close again, or are you open? Or like what?
We are open, but we only can have 3 or 4 customers at most, depending on how many staff I have. Okay. So, and when people come in, the first thing that happens is they have to sign a sheet with their name and phone numbers for contact tracing. Then they have to sign a piece of paper with their name. Right. And then they have to hand sanitize, and then they can come in. So as soon as the door opens,
and you've moved now, right? There.
Yes, we moved down the street to 186 Front Street North. We are now in the old Presence location. Okay. And what I say to people is we had our Harbor Bay Clothing, which was our fashion. And then we did our interview, if you remember, Dave, on the giftware side. Well, now they've moved in together and got married. So now we have, as soon as you walk in, you see everything. You see the clothes, you see the giftware, home decor.
Do you still have the socks?
We do have some socks, yes,
Okay.
but we didn't order any this year because we were in lockdown. So we just have whatever we have from last year.
All
And we
right.
don't
Well,
have a whole lot because that campaign, as you said,
Yeah.
just started before lockdown ended.
Well, I'll come in and I'll get a pair of socks. I need.
Aw,
You can never have enough socks, right?
No.
And they're really cool socks.
I know. And remember, Dave, you said to me last time you couldn't get your foot up that high and you did.
Yeah, I'm not doing it today. I like you, Helen, but that's as far as I go today. I might rip my pants or something. Would be my luck. All right. Well, thank you so much, Helen. I'll let you get back to enjoying this beautiful day that we have here today in Sarnia.
And I appreciate so much for having me.
I appreciate whenever you reach out and send me messages too. I really do like hearing from you. All the best to you and your family, and give them a virtual hug for me, if you will.
I will. Thank you so much.
Take care. Helen there talking about the R word. Really great points in there. And like I said, I'll be honest, I don't go around using that word to insult anybody, but way back when we were younger, we probably didn't think about it. So it's something we need to think about. Let's get rid of the R word. Let's pick a different word and support the campaign to remove the R word. There is no good way to use the R word. Thanks again, Helen, for being here. And we will have her back more often. We're not going to wait a year because this is important. And she's doing great work. And like I said, mentioning like Oswald's and the Special Olympics and Sue from the Bookkeeper. It's all really great people in our community working hard to make a difference. And you matter. Right on. Well, let's talk some music now. My friend Stu Brandon has been a musician I don't know if I'm allowed to say, Stu, because then it might reveal I think he reveals the age in this interview. We had to record this interview because we couldn't get our schedules together, but was really glad that we were able to get the time. I've known Stu Brandon for a very long time. He's a very super talented musician, guitar player, and he's played in rock bands. Anyway, he's going to talk about it. This is something very unique for him, though. He's got his own album out, simply entitled The Journey. Take a look at this interview with musician Stu Brandon, and then I'll be back. All right, well, joining me here now, as I mentioned, local musician, and I have to say, longtime friend and musician as well, Stu Brandon. Thanks for being here, buddy.
How you doing, Dave?
Doing great. I really mean that. You and I've known each other a lot of years, through the music world,
yeah.
and we've done a lot of things together, and it's usually involving music. Finally, to have you here talking about your new album here today. Thank you so much for joining me and sharing this. Well, it's easy to say a musical journey because your new album is called The Journey.
Thanks, Dave. We do go back quite a few years, but I called it The Journey just for the plain fact of I've taken songs that I wrote many, many years ago and actually performed them with different people. And I recorded them again. And I also threw in some newer material over the past 10 years that I've written. And life's a journey, man. So that's most of it. I could tell you why I wrote all the songs. And there's a story behind everything. It's crazy.
I just look at some of the titles we'll be showing here in a moment, like Another Fall Day, Listen, Think About You, You and Me, Jen's Lullaby, obviously, that's awesome. But there really is, just going through all of that, you can tell there is quite a story for you. Now you're really well known for as a guitar player, and you are an amazing guitar player. I've heard you play so many different things over the years. You're a very eclectic guitar player as well. Would you say that's accurate to call you?
Yeah, a lot of people have said they'd love to come out just to watch me play. And it's funny, the guitar is an extension of me, I always find. And bottom line, Dave, I have a lot of fun.
You do. You really do. It shows. Like, I know times, like I say, I have visions of the past with you on stage, and you just kind of get lost up there a little bit. Like, you just go into your own little world.
Yeah, most definitely that. For one thing, I quit drinking when I was 28 years old, and I get a natural high when I'm up there playing that I can't explain to a lot of people unless you've been there and done that.
Yeah.
But it's a thrill to perform in front of people. It's an absolute thrill.
Yeah. This music that you hear though that we're listening to, this is a little bit different for you based on what I think most would know you for, right? This
Yeah, well,
style.
most definitely this style. A lot of people. I've been in rock bands all my life.
Yeah.
But the thing I love playing most of all is sitting in my living room with my acoustic guitar and plucking away and playing just whatever pops into my head. And it's totally off. The reason I'll tell you a little story about the Journey Part Two, the last song on the album. I put that there because I thought, my God, I'm a rock and roller, and I haven't even put a rock and roll song on here. So I better do something a little heavier, or people will think it isn't me.
Right. Right. They're not going to believe it, right? That's not Stu. But
Exactly.
you do some of this is instrumental, like, well, the Journey itself, the first song on the album is instrumental, which is that alone itself is a little bit different for you to what people are used to. But then you're singing in this as well. But you had some help with this from other people as well, like Mike McKyes as well. Talk about that and his involvement.
Well, Mike was the producer, engineer out at the Grove Studios where we recorded this album. And I was going to get a whole bunch of players to come in from like the symphony and all that to do different parts for me. And Mike suggested, hey, I can do this and I can do that. I can drum. I can add cellos and orchestrations into your music. And he's a fantastic guitar player. So we went with that. And Mike, we connected on another level that I don't know. It was very easy to work with him. And he got me. When I would put down some music and he would come up with the orchestrations and stuff, it just flowed. It was fantastic to work with him. I can't say enough good things about working with Mike.
Yeah, and you get some synergy there. That's really important between musicians and, well, artists. Like you're artists, you know, you're creating something that you want to be successful. And I mean, the fact that you've got this on YouTube Music, Spotify, Amazon, and I know it's on iTunes, and I think you mentioned Bandcamp. Like you're really, and it's really getting some legs with attention, right?
Yes, and I'm loving every minute of it. You know, I'm almost 60 years old, Dave, and one of the first things I said to Mike on one of our initial meetings out at the studio was, you know, I've got all this music in my head. I've got to get it out. And I want to get it out before I'm too old that I can't play it anymore or whatever, because you never know what will happen.
Right.
And that's where we took off from, and off we went. And I got to tell you, I've already written probably 2 or 3 more for the next one because I'm having a blast doing this.
You're something got lit. You're on fire.
Oh, yeah. Well, the thing is, Dave, a couple years ago, I had the opportunity to open up for a fantastic musician from England called John Young. He used to play with He played with the Scorpions, Asia. He's got his own band, Life Signs, which are fantastic, world-class musicians. And me and him in our talks, he sparked something in me. And made me feel like, hey, it doesn't matter what age you are. If you've got something relative to say it. So I'm saying it.
Yeah. And you're saying it very well. I just yesterday was able to finally get a listen to some of this, and I was wowed. And again, I already had an expectation of knowing Stu Brandon, and then I already had an expectation of what I was in for. And then I heard it, and I was like, that is so cool. Like there's a bit of rocky, but you're classic guitar to like, what's the genre here? What would you call it? I had a hard time categorizing it, you know?
Well, yeah, so did me and Mike. And we were thinking folk. We were thinking folk rock, alternative folk rock. But I don't know. I really don't know. All I know is I enjoy it, and when my wife listened to it, because she's my staunchest critic,
Yeah.
If she said that's beautiful, then that's beautiful. It's like Jen's lullaby. I called it that just for the plain fact that she said that sounds like a lullaby. So I called it Jen's lullaby.
Awesome. It's great to have that support in your corner as well, right? Because there is a lot of sacrifice time to be able to, go to the studio and plan and write and organize all this together. And you really have to be laser focused to be able to come up with a production such as this. So it's got to be great to have Jen there supporting you.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Like she's disabled now, and I have to take care of her quite a bit. But on the other hand, she helps me more than she knows. Like you say, support for believing in me that I could get this done and do it. I also, I got to thank COVID for some stupid reason.
Right.
I got, just for the plain fact, Dave, last year, we had been in the studio. I laid down probably 4 songs, and then the lockdown came in March, and I got laid off for 8 months.
Yeah.
So for the first part of the lockdown, we couldn't get it together in the studio, but Mike and me were so synced up that I would just call him and give him some ideas of different things for him to do with the songs, and he'd do them. And for like the first month and a half, we did that, and it worked out great. And then with being laid off so much, I had free time to go out to the studio and create this. And some of the tracks have like 7 or 8 guitar lines in them. So we just layered upon layered different things, and the end result was, in my mind, fantastic. I'm so happy with it.
Well, there is that saying, timing is everything. So maybe that was good timing to be able to, get there back in, it was January 2020, you started doing things with this, and now it's there. I want to play the journey, a little bit of it here, but before we do, you had some other folks, including your brother Bill, help you out with this.
Yeah. My brother Bill, he's a pipe band drummer. He plays locally with the local Legion, but he goes on tour with the OPP pipe band. He's a drum major there. Or a drummer, I shouldn't say drum major. He'll correct me on that one. But he's a drummer with the OPP, and he's world class in my books. And he came in a couple takes on the song "Don't Go Away." He laid down that drum track, and it gave me that Scottish feeling that I was looking for in the song, because that's where we're from. And I can't say enough. Thank you for my brother. I love that. And also on the song Fantasy. I had sang it for years. I sang it in a local band called Southern Pride Inc. We actually recorded it quite a few years ago. And I wanted something different. And I always thought a female singer would add so much to the lyric and to the meaning of the whole song.
Oh, yeah.
And I played in the Rock and Roll Christmas show with Dave Chalk and friends. And Erica Merrifield is one of the singers in the show, a young girl, and she's just a fantastic singer.
Yeah, she
is. I asked her if she would come out and sing on it, and she said yeah. And she came out, and she didn't take it over the top, but I didn't want her to do that. I wanted her to just sing it really nicely, and she did a fantastic, phenomenal job. I can't say enough good things about Erica singing the way she sang that. And it turned out fantastic.
Yeah.
Can't say enough.
Great to have. And she really is a talented singer. I've always thought that. I've seen her sing over the years as well. And just, wow, just let her go. Just say, go do your thing. And she just goes and does it her way. And she's got her own unique style in there as well. Yeah. Oh yeah. It was just amazing. I think that only took like 2 takes, and she was done with it. And while I was done, we were all in the studio just looking around at each other going, oh my. Fantastic.
It was great.
Well, let's take a listen to some of this right now, Stu. We're going to play, folks, you want to listen to this real close. We're only going to play about a minute of this for you. This is the first track on the album, the title track of the album, The Journey. Take a listen, and then we'll be back. I just I just want to close my eyes and listen to that, and just like at the end of every day, I could see myself just putting my head down and being grateful, and that's what that kind of hits me with. And to everything going on in there with the instrumental, and it sounds like you've got water or waves or something going on.
The waves from the beach. We've got cellos going off in it. It's just amazing, And you're right, Dave. If you put some headphones on, close your eyes, you'll be out before you know it. It's the most relaxing song I've ever heard. But I love it. I absolutely love it.
You could tell you were right in there listening as I was watching you there. You can see that you're really, and the smile is on your face, my friend, for the success that that you've done with this. And congratulations to you for that. And
thank you so much, Dave.
Yeah, looking forward to sharing this more with people too. I really am. I'm really proud of you, buddy, and I'm very excited for you because I know you've been a musician all your life, really, and you've done a lot of things. And this is just a new chapter in the journey, I guess, for you with music, right?
Yes, sir. Like I say, a lot. Well, you can't play out right now. Even the Christmas show that we do every year at the theater has been put on hold.
Yeah.
Until we get this pandemic thing all under control a bit, it's tough for musicians. But one thing I want to do too, Dave, is this town, this whole area for that fact, has some of the best musicians I've ever heard in my life.
Couldn't agree more.
A lot of people in their basements, in their living rooms, whatever, but they're fantastic players, fantastic people too. And that's what shaped me as a musician in this town. I got to play with some of the best musicians in this town, growing up in the Corunna area with all the guys down there, Cruz and Louie and the guys in Line Drive, then to go on to the 88s for 25 odd years, 30 years.
Yeah.
With those guys, what a journey that was. Then Third Wave, Southern Fried Ink, all these guys, I've made a ton of friends, and it's all through music. And I can't say enough for the community of musicians in this town. They're all a fantastic bunch of people.
Stu, very well said, my friend. We know a lot of the same folks in that industry, and I've always been watching from afar, maybe in the same room, but I've always had those thoughts of like, wow, look at the talent we have just in this area, and being able to play together. Boy, if we could bring everybody back in one room, who would you bring with you? Right? There's a yeah, that could be quite a party, Stu.
It could. Maybe we should do that when all this is over, Dave. Get out in Centennial Park and have just a free-for-all jam of everybody and anybody that wants to go.
I think that's a great idea. Let's see if we can make that happen. Stu, thank you. Awesome. Thank you so much, my friend. It was nice to see you. And I know we get walking by the house all the time. We finally sort of saw each other, and say hello anytime, my friend. It's great to hear you, and thank you for allowing me to share this music here today.
Thank you so much for having me, Dave. It's my pleasure, brother. My pleasure, and anytime.
Right on. Stu Brandon, his new album called The Journey. That's what we've been talking about here, now available on YouTube Music, Spotify, Amazon, anywhere they're live streaming music. Check them out. And we'll be putting the links below in the comments. You can check that out right now. Well, I got to tell you, I've been looking forward to playing that interview here today. And Stu and I a few times have talked about having him here, and it just finally worked. Like we say, timing is everything. As I said, available on YouTube Music, Spotify. Just type in Stu Brandon. You will find The Journey, it's called, his new album. Very excited. I said that in the interview, and I meant that, Stu. Congratulations to you. Great help from Mike McKyes from the Grove Productions as well, and others in there. Just go listen to it. We'll post the link in the comments after the show. And we'll look forward to having Stu back. He said he's doing some more writing already. He's got a spark going on there, so who knows what he'll come up with next. All right, well, that's almost time to wrap up here. Thanks again to Stu Brandon for being here, and thanks to Helen for talking about, remember, no more R word. Just before we go, a couple things I want to mention. I want to give a shout out to my brothers and sisters of the 999th Legion for Child Rights Sarnia chapter. I'm very proud to be a part of this group, promoting the rights of children. And we happen to ride motorcycles as well. We will be doing a ride coming up on April the 24th. You can see that interview from last week on the Facebook page as well. I'll be reposting it if you want to find out more about it. Or you can go to 999thLegionSarnia.com to find out more of what we're all about. Child's Rights says it all, but you'll find out some of the things that we're going to be doing coming up as well. Don't forget the R word. Let's get rid of it out there. No more time for the R word. Thanks to all of you for being here. And of course, I want to say thank you to all of my supporters as well, who continue to keep the show alive, along with you who watch. If you weren't here watching and we didn't have the supporters, we wouldn't be here bringing you all this great stories here in our community. Philly Cheese Jakes, how you doing, Jake? I was going down the road on the motorcycle the other day, and I was beside my buddy Jake. I got to get in there and see him again soon. Active Ears Hearing Centers, where better hearing begins with you. Hughes Intelligence Security Specialists, our friends at Huron Signs, SWO, and AG Event Graphics. Joe's Discount Tire, got to have good tires. We just got some new ones on ours the other day. Got some new Pirellis there from Joe's Discount Tire. And, of course, our friends at Oswald's. Visit them online and check out their menu at oswalds.com. And again, thanks to all of you. Remember, you do matter. That's all the time I got for you this week. Have a great week and an even better weekend. I'll see you next time right here on the show. Bye for now.